Scored back to back to back goals.
Taking his game to a whole new level, they may regret trading him.
And, well, now we could sidetrack over to hockey for a bit.
Definitely. I know Derek mentioned it. I'm in a limited capacity today, and Derek will definitely speak on some more things after I leave, and we'll definitely do a full podcast next week to delve into everything. But the one series, and I know you want to talk about it too, Derek, and I'm going to let you introduce it on the hockey side.
All right, so the one hockey series, the crazy hockey series, the one that me and Dean both said would go to Game 7. This is going back to previous round, Colorado versus Dallas. No one expected this last game to end like this. No one.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, let me start this off.
Absolutely.
So, in Game 7, Colorado was up 2-0 going into the third period, which in hockey terms, that's a pretty big lead. It's hard, especially in the playoffs, for goals to be scored like that. But in Dallas, a man named Mikko Rantanen, who was a Colorado Avalanche earlier this year, bit them in the ass and scored back-to-back-to-back goals. Yep. He had a hat trick in one period in the third period to beat them. Well, to beat them by 4, it was 4-2 because of an empty net that he got the hat trick on. But it's still a hat trick, which is insane.
Let's not dumb it down.
He played outstanding against his former team, and I hate to say it sucks to say because I did say Colorado was going to go to the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
They did have a good game. I can't say they didn't. It's just at the end of the game they choked. Simple as that. They couldn't.
Yeah, we'll talk about our predictions next week because mine did not turn out quite well either. But that being said, going back to this series, you're 100% right. The first 3 games of the series, it actually may have been the first 4 games of the series, Rantanen had 1 point.
Yeah.
1 point. 1 point, Derek, in 4 games. And then in the last 3 games of the series, he had 10 points. Which is just, think of it, taking his game to a whole new level and putting the team on his back against his former team. I can't even begin to fathom how good that must have felt for him. Going against his older team, eliminating them in the first round, not only eliminating them, but getting a hat trick in the last period of the first round to eliminate them. That series was, and we discussed it in length, and you said it, we discussed it. That series was everything we could have asked for and more.
Yes.
And I think I wanted to point out too, it's a shame that one of those 2 teams had to go home because they were both at the Stanley Cup quality level. It's just how it happened to work, and those teams always seem to see each other. It was an unbelievable series to watch. That's coming from just a hockey fan, not even being a fan of one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is, even though Colorado they did get eliminated, they had a great series. They played great for Blackwood being his first hockey series, like as a professional goalie.
Yep,
he played very well. Even though he gave up some big goal games, he's still young. I don't know, but overall they did play very well. Nathan McKinney, who was, I believe, he was the goal leader.
Yeah.
Now now got taken over by none other than Mikko Rantanen.
Yep.
Which is, by the way, this last game that was played last night, which this is being filmed on a Wednesday.
Yep.
He scored
the
another
first game.
hat trick. He scored another
hat trick. It took him a little bit, but he kicked it in. I mean, he's that type of player. They traded for him. They gave up a lot of assets, Dallas did, and they signed him immediately to an 8-year deal. Everybody knows what this type of player was, and he just needed that surrounding and that support around him. I realize the stigma around Colorado just not being able to sign him right long term. You have a lot of other players that you have to think about on the payroll, but it's the early returns, Derek, and you tell me if I'm wrong. It's looking like they may regret trading him.
Well, all right. So this is how I see it. is
Yeah.
you can't fault Colorado because they traded him out of the fucking conference.
Oh, 100% true. That is a great point.
Because he went to Carolina and Carolina said, you know what, fuck you, Colorado. I'm going to send him back to where you have to face him. I think it's 4 times a year plus.
Well, it is 4 times a year. But the biggest thing here was that Colorado should have done maybe a little bit more due diligence on him and known that he wouldn't have re-signed with Carolina. That was the whole reason they traded him, because they couldn't re-sign him. And they thought if they traded him elsewhere, he would get re-signed elsewhere. And he didn't. Carolina said, well, screw you. We're going to trade you again. And it just so happened to be in the division rivals.
That's the worst thing. And there's nothing Colorado could have done. Well, they could have found a better spot for him to get traded. But in reality, you don't know what... Because I don't think they're in his contract before he had a clause to where he had to choose where he wanted to go. Because I think if he chose where he wanted to go, it would be completely different.
It wasn't... So, yeah, it wasn't a complete no-trade clause. It was just a matter of a lot of teams wouldn't trade for him unless they had that confirmation that he would re-sign with them. Carolina took a huge risk there because he immediately said that he wouldn't re-sign, or at least not yet. Carolina thought they would be able to convince him. Shocking, they didn't. And then they had to trade him and pivot. So, I mean, it was a lot of miscommunication on a lot of different ends. And it's just a rough situation for Colorado moving forward, just having to face that guy and go against him.
Over and over. And overall, I do feel bad for Colorado. But hey, that's how hockey is. It happens. Good players get traded sometimes back and forth. But now he's going to be in Dallas for a long time and potentially has the chance for a Stanley Cup championship this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the last. They're already up 1-0 in the series against Winnipeg, as you mentioned. So it's going to be fun to watch moving forward into the next round and the next round. And I think just based on early returns, I think Dallas should definitely be one of the bigger ones that are favored moving forward.
Yeah, and